Welcome, everybody, to Greg Heym's Crossing the Line. Episode 88, Shar.
Ray's not here.
Yeah, thank you.
Great clap. Good form.
88 was the year I graduated high school. Just throwing out a fact there for you because, I work in research. We got Lone Daddy himself, Scott Nadler here. Or old two hat, as we call him, because he's got to have two hats. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, although I was shaving this morning and you would have thought there was a murder scene in my bathroom because this is like my weak spot right here by the Adam's apple. I don't know if you guys have like a weak spot.
You shouldn't be shaving that low.
I gotta get the neck and like just blood everywhere.
You do know they make electric razors, right? Where you don't bleed?
Electric one for that.
What's that?
They make electric razors?
Yeah, I gotta get tighter. I gotta get tighter on the neck.
You shaved this morning?
Yeah.
At what time? Like 3 a.m? You got 5 o'clock shadow already?
No. Only the neck.
Oh,
only the neck.
Wow,
you got to get a little bit.
The inner workings of the brand.
See, we got like 3 different levels of like, I'm clean.
You have a fresh buzz also.
No.
I'm sorry.
Where's that from?
You don't use
this
a razor?
This is from Friday, I think. I
do electric?
Yeah, I don't care that much. I'm old and married. It's fine.
Since I got married, I haven't shaved down to the bottom. My wife likes a little scruff. So
I got the scruff here, but I gotta get the neck.
I'll clean it with the buzz.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. And for more grooming tips, stay tuned for the after show.
An island over here.
Already with a left turn on the podcast.
No, this will get more likes than anything else we say, probably.
Yeah.
All right. We got Shar Sedgh over here, or as I call him, the Sarge.
I'm back.
Esquire. Was he gone?
I saw a lot of you last week, so I don't know if he's back. We're just kind of picking up where we left off.
Lena, they were like hanging out like every day last week.
Greg cannot complain. We invited Greg.
No, not we. You invited me.
I invited you.
So I went.
He couldn't make it.
And then I invited him to my thing.
To something that didn't involve alcohol. Come on.
The desserts were very popular, though. There was no alcohol, though.
The cookies were good. It was a beautiful loft.
You could have brought me
Great
cookies. Like,
presentation.
there's no Lone Daddy cookies?
I wish we had leftovers.
With dollar signs on them. Come in a sack.
So, I'm going to make a note of that, Greg. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. But we did have a little networking event Thursday night last week. Saturday night, I missed him at a mutual friend's giving.
Again, all this stuff is going on. Me and Lena are by the phone, not together. We're at separate places, waiting for the phone to ring. So we'll have something to do that night. Actually, I had a good night Saturday night, so it was fun.
Where was the gig?
No, it wasn't a gig, actually. I had gigs Thursday and Friday, but Saturday went out with friends to a restaurant I play at and really enjoyed the duo there.
Amazing.
So props to Julia and Anthony. You guys were really good at Parkview. They said they're going to come see my New Year's Eve gig there. So they were really great. Really enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun.
So
always
you have
good.
like legit fans. And groupies.
Well, I think other musicians support each other, because we're all in it against, all the things we have to face, restaurant owners with unrealistic expectations, stuff like that. But also it's cool to sit in with people and jam with people. That's a lot of fun.
Does your wife go?
What, to my gigs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that she gets to eat and drink for free because I'm paying for it out of my pay. I always tell them, like, don't give me the money. Just put it towards my bill, especially now that my son's going to be in town. But I don't have any gigs while he's here. Mm-hmm. He's going to be coming back.
There's a game Sunday night, by the way. I looked up. Is he gone Sunday night?
Bills you're talking about?
Knicks.
Oh, Knicks.
No, I think it's Saturday night. The Bucks game?
I think it's Sunday night.
I think it's Saturday. But he's around.
Okay.
All right, we'll talk. All right. So
I'll email you, ctl@phsusa.com. I heard you guys got your first email.
Oh, you mean the one you sent?
Yes.
Not a first email. We get plenty of emails. Okay. I just don't let you see any of them because you'd be like, you have to put that disclaimer on the every email you send. Anytime you email me, I don't even know where the message is because there's so many warnings above and below the thing.
He's got closing, so he wants us to rearrange the schedule to accommodate.
That's right. Oh, next week.
Shar's schedule.
Yeah. But someone emailed Greg at say it again.
CTL@phsusa.com.
A lot of letters, but yeah.
All right. Well, now that we got all that out of the way, how you doing, Lena?
Very well.
Flying solo today. We've promised to be well behaved, but
I hope so.
We're not known to keep our promises when it comes to
She's
that.
wearing multiple hats and dressed in black.
And none of them are Lone Daddy hats.
None of the I've got plenty.
Did you get a Lone Daddy hat, Lena?
I did.
Okay. Just want to make sure. See, I had one, but then he just took it so he could have 2 Lone Daddy hats.
For an hour, and then once we're done, you can have it back.
What are the chances Ray is listening?
None.
Let's go. Make a call to action.
I don't know. You never know. Right, Lena? After you've seen about 88 episodes of the show, you kind of get used to it.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, you got an interesting text.
Oh, right before we went on air.
From your mother actually texts you.
She actually texts me.
How do you get that to happen? I can't get my mother to answer the phone when I call, but...
She actually was over all weekend also, so she didn't get tired of me. She did spend most of the time with the baby. She didn't really talk to me.
She's not there to see you.
While we were sort of powwowing before we went on air, she texts me and goes, "Hi, Mom."
Hi,
In
Shar.
our culture, moms call their kids mom and dads call their kids dad. We'll talk about it another time.
Yeah, that could be a whole show right there.
Wow.
Okay.
So she said, "I'm going for a walk. Please send me the last podcast. I'd love to listen to it."
You know, if you really want to give her something fun to listen to, send an episode you weren't on. I tell you,
I walked right into that one.
You're a lawyer. You should see it coming. All right. But before we have a fight at the table, we're going to take a break for these messages. And again, coming to you, as always, from Studio 1873, tastefully decorated by our friends at the Everset. And here are commercials from these guys.
Your dream home is closer than you think. I'm Scott Nadler, VP of Mortgage Lending at CrossCountry Mortgage, and I'm here to get you the perfect loan to match your perfect home. From first-time home buyers to seasoned homeowners, I've helped clients make their moves with confidence. Ready for a smooth, stress-free home buying experience? Let's get you moving today. Call me and let's turn those dreams into keys.
Sedgh & Zuckerman is a boutique residential law firm guiding you and your clients every step of the way with a solution-oriented approach. Make sure to work with a deal maker and not a deal breaker. Contact us today at sznylaw.com.
And we're back. And I want to point out to my buddy Scott Nadler, Giant fan number one. Right now, the Giants are the only team eliminated from the playoffs already.
Is that true?
Not even Tennessee.
We're right where we want to be. We're going to get a high
Tennessee
draft pick.
has one win. And the problem for the Jets is now that even though they only have 2 wins, Tennessee's going to get that number 1 pick. Even though they have a quarterback, they'll probably trade down. Mm-hmm. And the Jets will, if they want Mendoza, they're going to have to give those picks they got in the Sauce trade, probably to move up to get that. Right. Just to move up 1 or 2 picks potentially. We can't even lose right. We learned nothing from the Trevor Lawrence fiasco where we lost him because we
good old
Rams.
Jets.
Same old Jets.
He would have been terrible if he came to the Jets. So if you were a real Jets fan, you would know that.
Well, it is funny that Geno Smith and Sam Darnold leave and become Pro Bowlers, exactly. Sam Darnold might be MVP this year the way he's playing. I mean, it's. He told the Jets they were going to regret it. He didn't tell the fans because we knew that. We knew we were going to regret it.
It's like that movie where the guy, every woman he dates, when they break up, the next guy she dates, she gets married. That's like the Jets.
Good luck, Chuck.
Good luck, Chuck. Exactly. Dane Cook's finest work.
Really peaked right there.
Yeah, where's he been? We got to find out what that guy's been up to. All right, so we had an official government data release.
We did.
It was an employment report. Unfortunately, it was for September. So as I called it in the blog, it's the you get what you get and you don't get upset, report. Like, okay, with September, we're not going to get an October report for CPI or employment. So we're just going to have to work with this, Shar. Mm-hmm. And of course, it was a blowaway number. Payroll's up 119,000 in September, more than double the Dow Jones estimate. Unemployment rate ticked up to 4.4 from 4.3. Not really major news, but if you want me to scare you, it's the highest unemployment rate since October 21. It doesn't scare
Scale
me.
1 to 10. How surprised were you about this jobs report?
I was surprised it was that high because remember, ADP's number wasn't so good,
right?
And it was like, all right, are we going to start to see some of these federal people come off? But it's still September. It was still the fiscal year. And we're not going to get an October report. So we're going to have to wait for the November report, which is going to be released in the middle of December now, not the first Friday. So we'll know more then. But
the question, though, is do we believe the data? Because history is showing us that this data comes and goes, and it's evidenced in this report when they revise the previous month's numbers again, which keeps on happening.
Well, the one thing about this report was the revisions weren't that big. July and August revised down by a total of 33,000. That's not bad if it's accurate.
Fair enough, but it's still revised lower.
Wages growing 3.8% year over year. That's still higher than inflation. That's good. Not good to get inflation down, but good for us to buy things. healthcare leading job growth, but then restaurants and bars. So I guess you guys are going out a lot.
It's a big bill.
Just us.
I'm just going to send my tabs over to you guys for payment, all right? Federal government employment only down by 3,000 in September, but since the start of the year, the first 9 months of the year, down 97,000 jobs. So a pretty good report if you take it as that. And then the household survey, which we just look at to see if there's any sort of, similarities, was up even bigger, 251,000 jobs, which very interesting. So you go, okay, that looks really good. And jobless claims came out. That was a low number, 220,000. I'm like, oh, that's great. Like, what could be wrong with this? Well, I have a list of reasons why Shar should be very worried.
Good news, bad news.
The date is September data, right? Like, who cares? That's September.
It's the middle of November, just for the record, right?
Yes. Well, it's closer to the end than anything.
Thanksgiving is barreling down.
So ADP's report, their latest revision to the data, has employment down 29,000 in September. So yes, that goes to your revision projection,
and the Fed members are so mixed right now as far as how they're seeing things. Like it's so split. Some people are looking at this and saying the jobs market's great, and other Fed members are saying it's not looking so hot here. Yeah. Continuing claims continue to go up. Right. Unemployment is going up, to your point. So when's the last time you saw the Fed as split as it is now? Is it just so front and center where, we're all kind of paying attention to it?
Well, it's funny. So we're going to talk about that in a second because they had to manage a problem that it shows you what one person says can move markets.
Yeah.
But let's just finish this talking about what we don't know. Sure. We don't know the whole, what the lasting effect is going to be of the shutdown. We know that usually it's not a big deal, but this is the longest shutdown in U.S. history. We're flying blind with data. We have no idea what's going on. And remember, the director of the National Economic Council said this could lead to the loss of up to 60,000 private sector jobs, let alone what the government does. So the November report will come out December 16th, which is after the Fed's meeting. And we talked last week about how it was a 50-50 proposition, right? And then it looked like it wasn't even going to be that good. And then the president of the New York Fed gave a speech where
John Williams, yep.
Yes, not the conductor who wrote the Star Wars music, but or the legendary guitar player, but where he spoke the Fed speak. He said that there was a likelihood of, quote, further adjustment in near term. Now, let me explain to you lawyers.
Use the words again.
You further adjustment in near term? Likelihood.
Okay.
Yeah. So you for you lawyers out there, you're going to get your rate cut. Just calm down. We'll get there when we get there. So the two things your parents used to say, you get what you get and you don't get upset. We'll get there when we get there. So since he said that, now the chances of a rate cut are over 70%. So if we get one more person to say one more thing, maybe we'll have it up to 100%. We'll be happy.
Right.
What are your thoughts on this, Shar?
Well, what kind of influence does he have on the decision?
He's one of the voting members, so he's a president of the New York Fed. That's the most important one. Yep. New York's the most important everything. And we're not just saying that because we live here.
So we're all in? Is that what we're doing?
I don't know. A lot can happen.
It's still split. I think it's, you still have a cohort of Fed members who are interpreting this data as we need more information. The labor market is not as weak as what this is showing. And inflation is still an issue. And I think the Fed members who are focusing on that, which is not wrong, inflation is that hidden tax. And it's something that people need to pay attention to. If inflation is 5% one year and the next year it's 1%, inflation went down, but it's still in a 2-year period is up by 6%.
Right.
So I think, having that mindset of focusing on inflation is not a bad thing, but rates, you could still cut a quarter and still be restrictive.
So what are you going to do?
I'm cutting a quarter.
Okay. What are you doing?
I think the same. That was the plan all around.
Okay. I mean, right. You say you're going to do it. The rate is still higher than it needs to be. I don't think it's really going to stoke inflation to cut. You say, it's inflation is half the picture. The other half is maximizing employment.
Correct.
And which needs more help right now.
Right.
When we're losing jobs, at least according to ADP and everybody but the BLS,
Right.
we have to look at that. And I don't think a quarter point. Plus, the markets will have a little bit of a tantrum if they don't get their cut. You're going to give it to them. Give it to them. Let's see. But look, you could understand. You want me to make a decision. And it'd be like me telling you, hey, I want a loan. All right, what's your credit look like? Well, I pay my bills on time. It's like, okay, but like really, can I see a credit?
We have these conversations all the time. Yes.
Yeah,
This is an actual conversation.
And the assets you have, what do you have? Oh, I have some stocks.
Right.
Could I see statements?
Yeah. Where should we wire the money?
It's like, oh, so labor market's bad. Well, where's that October report? Right. Oh, wait, we don't have one? Yeah. Oh, we're not going to get the November report in time for the meeting. That's too bad. So,
but it's not like there isn't data out there. Again, we've talked about private sector data. The ADP numbers are there, so they still have. It's somewhat of an excuse to say that we don't have the data that we need. There's enough out there.
Now, Sarge, why are they? I love that. Does anybody else call you that?
Nobody ever.
Does anyone?
I've heard Shahriar.
No, Sarge is better.
Shahriar.
It's a perfect nickname. That's all I got to say. Lena, it's a good nickname for him, right?
It is good.
He's got the haircut for it, so that's good.
That is true.
So
Sharia law.
So, jeez.
Too soon?
Left turn and off the cliff.
Are some of these Fed governors acting like doctors? You know, the Hippocratic Oath, first do no harm. It's like, oh, it hurts when you move your arm, don't move your arm. Like, or let's come back in 2 weeks. Maybe it'll be better by then. Should they be more aggressive? Or being their legal counsel, not that they do this, although, remember, they're
all lawyers.
The chairman of the Fed is a lawyer, yes. What is your recommendation to them?
So what we haven't talked about though is how before
there's only one thing we haven't talked about.
but before the Fed shut down and the lack of information that we've had in October,
the federal government, not the Fed. The Fed didn't shut down.
Sorry, the federal government. They said in October when they dropped the rates, another rate is not a foregone conclusion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so what kind of foresight did he have, or was his statement based on a completely different set of facts, and now we're living in a different reality where...
Or is he just messing with people, or does he not want to be bullied into a cut? Because we talk about all the time, these are priced in. The markets, are expecting that, and he's saying... we're going to make that decision, not you guys. I'm not going to be bullied.
So if that's the case, it seems like he's just trying to justify a conclusion based on the information he has or missing. And I feel like he's in a perfect situation to do that. So that might be the angle that he comes at also.
Well, I don't like his angles typically. It's his mess. It was their mess telling us, oh, it's transitory. Don't worry, it's going to go down right away. It's a supply side issue. Again, too much money chasing not enough goods. Maybe I should send him a note and you can put that on his wall. So he has that for next time.
How many more meetings are there before he can be replaced? How many opportunities does he have to really leave a mark between now and then?
But it doesn't matter. His mark is going to be stoking the highest levels of inflation in 40 years.
40 years, yeah. Well, let me ask you, in terms of the employment numbers, unemployment, I think in April of 23, was at 3.4%. And that looks to be the low. And that's like a springboard to when from that point. Now it's touching, if you round up or almost round up, it's like 4.5%.
Right.
So how much weight do you give to that?
Well, the problem is you see 4.4% and you go, well, that's low. Like, what are we complaining about? They used to say maximum employment was like 6% unemployment. Like that was like as good as it was going to get. And now we can see we can have much lower levels. The problem is that people aren't being fired en masse. Like it's not happening. Initial claims are not going up. They went down recently.
Continuing claims though.
It's harder to get it because it's the no hire, no fire environment. Mm-hmm. So if people do lose a job, which happens all the time, it's really hard to find a job. And a lot of people would say, well, that's the first thing that happens, right? CFOs say no more hiring. Don't refill any positions. Let's do this by attrition, and then we'll see where we are. Phase 2 is when that's not working. Like we've got to get payroll down lower. We're worried about this, worried about that. So you can make the argument that this is what we would expect to see at some point, that you start to see it harder to get a job openings. A lot of them are zombie jobs, they're calling them now. They're just putting out so they have resumes when they're ready to go. So you could certainly make that point that it's clear where this is going. I'm not saying it's going like unemployment's going to double and we're going to
unemployment's gone up 0.1% every month since June. Now,
okay, but I mean, again,
it's a shorter sample size.
There is only so long that I could sit here and go, it's still low. It's still low. It's still low.
Exactly.
It's not going to work. And I think, if the Fed cuts, that will help. But remember, a lot of companies are still wondering what the impact of tariffs are going to be. You should know by now. They've been in place long enough. But, everybody's at the end of the year. It's always uncertainty. Stock market had a big pullback. You think you had a blow-away jobs report. NVIDIA had better than expected earnings, and it tanked. Yeah. That's what you're like, all right, what is going to make them happy?
Right.
Because they always got to look for something to be pessimistic about. So, again, to me, this is why, and I'm an inflation hawk most of the time. I always say the Fed, your number one job is really to worry about inflation. But in this case, inflation is sitting around 3%. Okay, that's not 2%, but it's not 4 or 5% either, and it is lower than the growth rate of wages. Mm-hmm. There are other issues. People that graduated, in the spring are now having to pay back their student loans. That's going to take money out of the economy. So you worry about these things.
Do people generally lose jobs before the end of the year, or do companies wait until after the holidays and do it in January?
Well, it depends. From my own experience and people I know, usually you do it before the end of the year. You want them off the books.
Off the books before you start.
Right. You want a clean slate next year, especially for public companies. You have to report. So,
and all those federal workers that got fired now, they're completely off the books as we.
They should be.
Right. Once October, November, right?
The fiscal year ended in September. So they should have, and that's when their severance was going to stop. So that should, remember, those people took buyouts. From what we hear, the people that were furloughed are all coming back. So we'll see how that shakes out. Okay. But again, I think it's funny that people think they know what the level of federal employment should be. It's like, oh, you can't cut jobs. I always say, what do you know about it? Right. It was much lower 30 years ago when I was there. Al Gore was in charge of reducing the size of government, and they did that. But as typical happens in government, they go right back to what they had before.
It gets bigger and bigger.
The other question I had while I was reading about this is that if you look back at the year, right, in 3 months, you look back at the year and you see a small uptick this month as far as the numbers we saw. How many months in a row would you have to see an uptick to say, okay, something may be changing instead of this isn't an anomaly?
Well, and I think you'd have to wait until those numbers were revised. And
of course.
I mean, if you see 3 months of growth, look, they could do this anyway. They get the cut off the books this year, right? Let's do the 25 base point, give them what they want, and then we'll see what happens. They always say they're data dependent, but it's hard to imagine we're going to get see a number over 200,000 or something like that.
Let's not forget, last year, they overestimated job growth by almost 900,000 jobs.
Yeah.
So the Fed is making their cuts based on false data. And now, these numbers, I don't know what the numbers
Don't
are
say
again.
false, say preliminary.
Preliminary data.
Look who sounds like a lawyer now.
No, I'm an economist. No, because I do this too. I do reports where the most recent quarter is preliminary because data comes in late. Right. And remember, we're missing.
It just carries so much weight and has such an impact on what the Fed is doing, how it impacts potential home buyers and home sellers.
But we're talking about employment. We're talking about inflation data. We're forgetting. We're missing what may be the most important number, and that's GDP. We don't have a third quarter GDP number.
Right.
It was probably pretty good, but we don't know what it is. It's funny because this week it would have been the third and final estimate of third quarter GDP would have come out. Now they don't even have a release date for it. So maybe the number will be more accurate because they've had more time to wait for stuff to come in. And when we don't have a PCE number, to look at to really know the real answer to inflation.
Right.
So even the reports we're getting, it's nice to start getting stuff, but it doesn't help us solve this, paradox wrapped in an enigma or whatever you call these things. It's tough. You're flying blind to a certain degree. Then you got to take the thing that was going to cause the least damage if you're wrong. Cutting rates when they're still sitting near 4%, cut them down to 3.5 and change. If you average it out, I don't think that's a high risk environment. I don't think that's going to stoke inflation because the only way you stoke inflation, are you listening, Chairman Powell, is you print money. So here, if you want to get rid of inflation, stop printing money. Take any extra money you have and pay down your debt. That's how. Just like that's how you get your credit score up, right? 100%. You pay down your debt.
Exactly.
So you don't take on more debt.
Let's take that clip and send it to him.
Yep.
Oh, like he's watching. You ever wonder? He goes, "Oh man, I wonder what Greg Heym's going to say about me this week. Please leave me alone."
He may be listening on his morning walk, just like my mom. You never know.
I don't. Maybe they're walking together. We don't know what's going on.
By the way, on that note, though, we work with clients all the time where they'll ask to get them qualified. Paying down debt has such a bigger impact than increasing someone's income. So, if they were to add someone on to the loan who has additional income versus paying down some debt, paying down that debt has a really big impact that we work with clients on all the time, which will lower their debt to income ratio. So on more of a micro level, we see that all the time. And on a macro level, what you're talking about, it's the same exact thing.
It's funny because, at least personally, we want to pay down our own debt, but the government, it's like, man, we're not the ones paying it back. What does it matter?
They just keep passing the buck to the next administration.
Or passing the 50 cents if you want to discount for inflation.
Well, we also never talked about the $2,000 refund we're allegedly going to be getting from the extra.
That is a terrible idea.
You didn't get your chance.
I always think it's funny that these are done in the name of, and a lot of New York just did this, in the name of inflation rebates. And you go, okay, what caused the inflation? The money we sent to people during COVID, right? Okay, a lot of that was needed, but then we went a little too far and sent a little too much money.
You think?
Once you get that money into the economy, it's very hard to get it out. And you see how painful it is that after the most aggressive rate hikes we've seen in our lifetime, we still couldn't get it where we wanted to go.
Right.
All right. Well, speaking of mortgage rates, no, we weren't. But anyhow, we're going to get into that in part 2 of Greg Heym's Crossing the Line with Loan Danny and the Sarge. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Evan Greenberg with Langdon Title. I specialize in title insurance across New York, helping real estate attorneys, agents, and brokers close with confidence. I solve problems fast and keep your deals moving. Contact me anytime.
What do you really need to know about buying or selling a home? First, it's serious business, and it's complicated. There's a lot of money on the table, and emotion too. You need an agent who knows the ropes. So, whether you're buying or selling your home, work with professionals who have a mastery of the craft.
This beautiful set here at Studio 1873 is brought to you by the Everset. The Everset provides full-service staging and furniture rental solutions in the New York area. For more information, please visit us at staging.theeverset.com or email us at staging@theeverset.com to request a free proposal.
And we're back, and clearly we've been drinking during the break. All right, so mortgage rates ticked up again 3 straight weeks, but it's from 622 to 626. That's nothing.
No.
A year ago, rates were like 6.8. Are we happy, Scott Nadler? Is your phone happy because it's ringing so much?
It is. I don't think clients are really we're not feeling it as much. You see a little. I think the only thing I would say is we were expecting prior to the government shutdown more of a dip.
Right.
Like we were kind of like the table was set for rates to drop a little bit more, and they were really paused. And that's kind of what the data is showing also. It's maybe they ticked up a little bit, but not in a way that's making a material difference to potential home buyers right now.
Okay, and we got existing home sales for October up about 1%. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people would say, well, Loan Daddy, I thought rates were lower. You were busy. Why aren't sales up more? And a couple of reasons that could be. One is the shutdown had a role in this, right? Because flood insurance, government-backed loans got held up. I don't know if you deal with a lot of those issues.
Not as much.
Obviously, if you're in Florida and places like that, or Long Island, where I live, that's a big deal. So I think that could explain it. And supply was down a little bit, but year over year it's up. What is your feeling here? I know you feel busy, but rates were falling sharply in August and September when a lot of these deals, here in New York, deals take a lot longer because of the lawyers. A lot of them are co-ops. That can take 3-6 months or whatever, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm trying to help you, buddy. But, you know, in other parts of the country where they don't have such things, you know, it's usually a month or two before you close. Are we depressed that it wasn't a higher increase, or are we just like, it's just going to take a little more time?
It's a short sample size. Again, I think in our area, things have been pretty busy. I haven't seen much of a drop there. I don't know. Whenever there's added uncertainty, there's always uncertainty. There's always data that's coming out. People can view it one way versus another. The government shutdown was a historic event. 44 days where the government was shut down. People were on edge about it. So it's not, it's not such a surprise that things would slow down a little bit. But again, I think
the other thing is
things have been busy.
Year over year, price is still going up. I mean, that's the thing. You can have more supply, you can have lower rates, but you know, as we said, that's why you may not want to wait so long.
Correct.
So the rate goes down a little bit.
And I know we're going to get to the NAR, what they're predicting, but yes, you are correct.
But I think this time was a moment for some home buyers to sort of be educated on how the headlines that you see on the news don't necessarily translate to your situation changing as far as rates, right? Because we had, you know, 2 Fed meetings where rates were dropping, and people immediately in their mind, even though we've talked about it ad nauseum here, is that doesn't mean that interest rates for your mortgage are going to drop. And I feel like a lot of people
copyright Greg Heym Enterprises. Go ahead.
didn't internalize that, and you know, they were sort of on a holding pattern. Say, okay, well, I'm looking for a house. I'm not so desperate. Let's see what happens with rates. And now we're at the point where we're like, okay, my mortgage rates are not necessarily going to drop significantly because of what's going on in the news. They may have ticked up a little bit, not a backbreaker where it's going to, you know, kill a deal or bring someone out of the market. So I think people now at this point are starting to be okay, this is going to be where we're at for a little bit, and then act accordingly based on the information. So I think that's sort of where we are. I don't think we're so worried about a small uptick on rates.
People are always going to look at what the Fed is doing and think that rates are going down or up based on, you know, their cut.
Yeah. Well, something
if they're raising rates
that I don't hear, you know, we don't know what the shutdown is. So basically, 1 million people who should be being paid aren't paid, right? So is that going to, when we finally get any inflation numbers on that period, which we're not, eventually they'll come up with something, I would hope. Did inflation go down because people just didn't have the money to spend and weren't buying the stuff? You would think the PCE numbers would show that.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
And when they all go back to work with their lump paycheck and air traffic controllers could qualify for bonuses, is that going to bring inflation up temporarily, which would bring mortgage rates back up a little bit? So we still don't know what this shutdown of long-term effect is going to be on hiring, what it's going to do to prices, and what it's going to do to mortgage rates. And were people who were thinking of buying right before the work for Federal, are they going to be so quick to say, all right, I'm back at work, let's go buy that house?
Balance each other out, because as housing tends to lag, or it does lag, now those numbers are starting to come down a little bit, and that carries such a big weight with the inflation numbers. So maybe that balances each other out, but yeah, I mean, it could be a standalone number that comes out that you need to take into account the fact that, you know, so many people were out of work, and then they get this influx of
How does that impact your processing a loan application? Because I know in order to get qualified, sometimes you have to show a certain number of pay stubs to show consistent pay at a certain number. And generally, if your pay is the same over the course of, let's say, 6 months or 12 months or 2 pay periods, you can rely on that as factual. Now, all of a sudden, you have government workers or people who had no pay coming in for how long?
6 weeks.
6 weeks. And then all of a sudden they're getting a big lump payment. Yeah. Does the bank have the ability to sort of put on its thinking cap and say, okay, there was like a world event that impacted this and there's consistency, or is that going to throw off the ability to approve these people?
Timing is the most important factor. So it depends on where someone is in the actual process. If someone is a week away from closing and we need to do a verification of employment for that client, and we call HR and they say, well, government, no one from HR even answers the phone, right? Everyone's shut down. This person not.
Think of the amount of voicemails and emails those people come back to.
Oh my God, I can't imagine.
Delete all. That's all they're doing.
You can't do that. It's government stuff. You can't just do that.
So I think timing is really important. If someone is 2 weeks into the process and they're not closing for 45 to 60 days to 90 days, it shouldn't have that big of an impact because we should already have their pay stubs. we should be able to continue on the process. You get the appraisal, you get the commitment letter. And in the back of our minds, our team, we're looking at this, we're saying, all right, we're obviously watching what's happening to say, you know, we need to just time this out correctly. Right. So I think that's the most important thing.
There's something that lawyers put into a contract.
Just one thing?
It's called a funding contingency. Most of it might be tough, but one of them is helpful for a borrower. It's called a funding contingency.
This is not talked about enough, by the way.
It's something that I educate a lot. I've done like broker classes about this because it's the one thing that sometimes can stall a contract from getting signed, and that's when you have to get the brokers involved, and it really helps for the brokers to understand it. And again, I can do an hour of this, but I'll try and do it quickly. You have a
not on my show. You can't. Go ahead.
Where the regular mortgage contingency that says my obligation as a buyer is contingent upon getting a commitment letter means that once that commitment letter is issued, your mortgage contingency is satisfied and you have to close on the deal. And a big issue that happens, especially in New York, is when the mortgage commitment is issued, let's say at 30 days, we may not be closing until 60 or 90 days. And there's a lot of things that can happen there. Not high probability, but there's a lot of number of things that can happen where the bank will say, sorry, we issued you a commitment, but we're not going to actually fund the loan at the closing because of, and it can be related to employment, pay,
First Republic going out of business.
So originally it was banks going under in 2008. Yep. So, in these times where there's uncertainty, COVID was the most recent one, we used to put things in the contract that said if there's an employment issue, salary issue, the mortgage contingency can be revisited and either renegotiate or cancel the contract. Mm-hmm. So it's a really important thing where you may have 100 times where you're fighting it with another attorney and it doesn't come up, and all of a sudden something like this happens where it becomes a real life factor in whether somebody loses their contract deposit.
And bringing this back to what we were talking about earlier, if someone loses their job during the process, so in times of where unemployment is going up, those verifications of employment are so important because, and this has happened. I've been doing this for 15 years now. We've had instances where someone's a week away from closing, we do a verification of employment, and someone from HR says, "Oh, they no longer work here," and that's how we find out. And then we have to talk to the client. Hey, this is we need to figure out how we can get you to closing.
You've even had people quit their jobs right before closing, thinking, "Well, I just got rehired at a higher salary, shouldn't be a problem."
Oh my God, yeah.
But you have a gap of time where you can't verify that they're employed.
We have a do not do checklist that we send to every buyer.
I had that happen to me actually when I came here. No, it was like we were looking, and I told the broker we were working with, by the way, I'm changing jobs. She's like, "What?"
Worst thing you could do.
And that's like, and I'd been pre-qualified for a mortgage, and I'm like, "Why is that a big deal?" No, it's like I said, "But I have a contract," and they go, "It doesn't matter. It's not a good thing." We wound up buying a couple of years later, but
it's a problem when someone is heavily bonused, let's say, where
I'd like to be heavily bonused. Well, put it like that, it sounds like a good thing, I think. Well,
they could have a smaller salary and a big percentage of their compensation is bonus related, or they could be commissioned salespeople. Right. People like that, there's no consistency with your new company that just hired you of you receiving a bonus. So you have a history with company A, now you're going to company B. We need to qualify you based on that history. Now, there are ways around it. There's caveats there, but switching a job during the process itself, I should say, is very challenging.
Now email Loan Daddy or go to his Instagram page, follow him, and he will send you those lists of things you should not do.
That's right.
That's a great point. I will.
Is it at Loan Daddy?
At Loan Daddy. You will find me. The only one out there.
There you go. It's one of the most entertaining social media accounts out there in our industry.
We have some
really impressive.
We have some very good stuff coming out.
Yep.
I'm excited about.
Wait, why don't you say the very good stuff for here? Why you come on. All right. Well, just to put a bow on this section, you talked about NAR.
Am I not good enough?
I'm not saying that.
Smart enough. You're good enough.
We love our sponsors and people like you. Okay, Stuart Smalley. So NAR is predicting a 14% jump in existing home sales and a 5% jump in new home sales next year.
Yep.
And price is still rising 4%. And you go, well, how are they so optimistic? They expect solid job growth. That's not a given, but a possibility. And they, looking at mortgage applications, they've been pretty good. Maybe that'll feed into next year and get the momentum and rates come down?
Yep. Two interesting things in that article. Number one, 55% of mortgage applications go through, meaning 45% do not, which is one of those stats that's like you're shocked by the stat and equally not shocked. You know, it's like most people, and we talk to agents about this all the time, most people that do what we do are not great at it.
Right.
You know, it's so 45% of mortgage applications, you're starting the process, you're not going through. Roughly 30% of our transactions start where someone starts the process, it doesn't go through, then it ends up back with us. That was a big number. And the last point, the amount of homes sold in the last 3 years has been very consistent at 4 million homes. Right. So a 14% increase means 560,000 homes are going to be sold. That's a big deal. 14% is a major deal. So if you go backwards, 2019, 2020, and 2021, it was like 5.3 million homes, 5.6 million, and then 6.2 million homes in 2021, which was the highest number since 2006. And then we've plateaued at 4 million. So this now cycle of us kind of now entering that uptick is encouraging. And this is a really interesting article.
Right. So I also thought that was very unusual about the percentage of applications submitted actually making it to the finish line. But what I'm also seeing with people having access to so much information now, that buyers very often may be submitting 3 applications on every deal. So before they even start, they've submitted one to Loan Daddy and not Loan Daddy and
not Loan Daddy.
See, that would be an interesting handle for someone to get now, not Loan Daddy. Do people do that? That'd be a good idea.
So it's really dissecting the numbers. And, you know, it sounds unusual at first, but when you think about it, it may not be that bad. I'd love to see the statistic of how many people submitted a loan application and then never end up closing rather than closing on that application. The other thing that was interesting on this, they were calling homes above $1 million to be like high luxury, high-end luxury.
Well, that's true in most parts of the country.
But in where we are, I don't think $1 million.
The one-bedroom apartment. Yeah, I know.
But there's still mansion tax. And they still call it that when we have out-of-towners buy $1 million plus. What's this mansion tax?
So I would have loved to see how this is broken down to region and see if his conclusion would be the same.
I didn't know you're such a data guy. All right, so we're going to end this on a fun thing, and Lena, please participate in this because we always value your opinion.
Oh, this bothered me.
Well, I didn't even say it yet. You're selling.
I can read your mind.
Teasing it.
So there was Empower did a survey of 2,200 adults and asked them, how much do you spend on gifts for weddings, holidays, birthdays, stuff like that? But even before we get to that, some people really don't like to give gifts. 60% of the surveyed said that gift culture, whatever that is, I thought that was always a thing, has gotten, quote, out of hand.
Everything's culture.
And 48% say they've experienced gift fatigue. But you know what you never experience? Receiving gift fatigue. That never gets tiring. Lena, since you're the one getting married, me and Shar have been married too long, especially me.
I've been married 3 years, and it's not enough.
Oh my God.
What an answer.
He's flipped that, send it to my wife.
Disgusted right now.
I'm married 27 years. And it's, anyhow, love you, honey. So what do you think the average amount people spend at a wedding is? And don't cry when I tell you, because these are not going to be people going to your wedding. Even if I'm getting invited, which I know I'm not.
These are national numbers also, right?
I cannot afford to go to your wedding. So that's clear from what you've said. But what do you think, and then national number, what do you think the average gift is?
Per individual, like not bridal party, just regular gift?
Yeah, we don't get that specific. Just
I'd say 200.
That's not a bad. I think that's not a bad guess. I think that's
you're a very generous person.
Yeah. Sorry, is your gut feeling like that was low or high?
I feel like that was pretty dead on. No.
Okay.
No. It was dead on.
It was a good guess. I think in practicality in this area, I think
it's dead on if you're trying to get more than double the amount. So $85.
No way.
This is New York. Sorry, Lena. Please, everybody going to Lena's wedding, 85 is not going to cut it. You will be ejected from the wedding very quickly and with much prejudice.
They price check everything that comes through the door. The first thing.
No, you have to pay to get in. Like they have to open the envelope and see the check before. And it's got to be in cash or euros or whatever they're going to accept, depending on the exchange rate at the time.
Let me ask you this, though. If you go to a party and they say no gifts, do you bring a gift?
I'm bringing wine or I'm bringing something, like no gift.
They say no gifts. Like we're having a party. It could be a birthday party. It could be a dinner party. We say, hey, we just want your presents. We don't need actual presents.
Your presence is present enough.
Your presence is presence enough.
Bring something.
You have to bring something. I agree.
Something little, like you bring a dessert, you bring wine, you bring something. But to show up somewhere at a dinner party or something completely empty-handed, everybody's going to be like, no, don't bring anything. It's fine. It's fine. And then they're like...
What about friends, kids, parties?
No, kids, you got to bring something. You got to bring something for the kid.
Because they're going to run up to you and go, did you bring me a present, Uncle Scott? And you're going to be like,
if you get invited to a dinner party and they say no gifts, I actually think it's better buy a small book or something for the kids, so it's not a gift for the parents.
Or if they have a kid,
something.
for sure.
Why are you buying a book for a kid? I mean, come on. Weren't you a kid at some point? Gee. All right,
picture book.
So here's this is where it gets interesting, Lena. So $85 for a wedding. How much you think for a kid's birthday? Char's only bringing a book, and those are about $3 for kids. But
for a kid's birthday?
Yeah, Gregory Jr.'s birthday, which you missed it. It was in August, so you'll have to wait till his...
Bringing 50 to 100.
$50? $100? Yeah, I'd say...
$83. It's like the same as a wedding. A wedding's $85, a kid's birthday's $83. I don't know.
Kids these days.
You know what? We're going to have to get on the Lone Daddy jet and go see a little bit of America and talk to people here. This is the one that's really going to upset the ladies out there, I think. Valentine's Day. Now, women are like, my wife would be like, I'm not spending anything on Valentine's. That's his problem.
Yeah.
Wait, do men expect to get something on Valentine's Day?
No, we do not.
Never, right?
I don't think I've ever.
No, we get a bill when we go out to dinner. That's
like a card.
There you go.
Because that's what we're really looking for.
With nothing inside. Just a really nice note.
Yeah.
I love you, nice hearts.
So sweet. This is great.
Can't wait for dinner later.
Yeah, exactly.
See, this is what's wrong. This is how it's this whole gift thing is biased against people. So Valentine's Day, $51. Now, if your hubby spends only $51 on Valentine's Day,
he better have gotten a deal.
It's the thought that counts would be the proper answer as your attorney.
Seriously,
I mean, does that even include dinner? Because dinner, $51 ain't going to cut it on.
No, 51 is not including dinner and flour. No, sorry. I would think 51 at a minimum is not including dinner, not including flour.
Let me ask you this.
That's a given.
How much do you take into account what someone spent for you when you're going to their event, whether it's a wedding or a kid's?
Did you ever see that Sebastian Maniscalco thing? He talks about how Italians only have one preferred gift, it's cash, and he goes, and then when you open the envelopes, you have a ledger. You take out the ledger and you write down what everybody gave you. This way, the problem is, if I'd have gone to Shar's wedding, which I'll let slide because I didn't know you, I got married 24 years before Sarge did over here, so I'd have to adjust for inflation.
Bringing it full circle.
So my dad, and more my dad knows, and he doesn't have to look at the ledger. He knows. He knows who's generous, who's not generous, and gifts in return definitely reflect what they brought you.
To match.
But it's also, where I come from, you sort of want to, if you're going to a wedding, you want to cover at least your plate because you don't want the couple to.
And you know what? I had this argument 30 some odd years ago with someone I work with who was saying they better cover their plate. I go, well, then why don't you put the minimum on the invitation? How are they supposed to know? How's like your aunt and uncle supposed to know when they got married 30, 40 years ago what weddings cost today? How am I supposed to? And another thing so I have 7 nieces and nephews, right? So, and they range from like 7 to 30. So the costs have changed. So, I have my goddaughter's graduating high school, next year in May, because it's the South, they end early. And I got to go back and try to check through my ledgers to see exactly what I gave the most recent niece or nephew that graduated. No, I try to take inflation. Being an economist, it would be bad if I didn't.
And also, I think it makes a difference. Like for Lena's wedding, if people are traveling together, they've already spent so much money to get there. Okay. If you're a single person going to a wedding, it's very different than if you're a married couple going to a wedding.
You know what a wedding is? I make this joke now. A wedding is like a $300 date with my wife. Like that's really what it's become. Once you're married and you're married long enough, and all your friends are like kind of past that. It's nice. My niece's wedding was a beautiful thing. It was great to see the family together. But if you go to like these not close family weddings, you're like, it's like a $300 or $400 date. With I had to wear a suit. I had to find a suit,
and it's worth every penny.
to them. But, you know.
Listen, but the costs of throwing weddings are through the roof now. Also, there's a broker who I'm friends with who's planning a party for a family member. And he said the party planner took him to a couple different venues.
So that's when you know it's expensive, when you have a party planner.
So the party planner said to her, if you throw the party here, it's as if you're buying a Mercedes and driving it off a cliff. And if you're not okay doing that, this might not be the venue for you.
No.
COVID did change this a bit though, because during COVID, obviously you couldn't do a big venue, so everything changed. One of my closest friends got married in Central Park. I did the wedding. I mean, it was very local. I mean, it was like a picnic, right? And I think Gen Z specifically, and we rail on Gen Z a lot, and we're going to talk about them a lot next week as well when Morgan is here. But this is one thing I'll give that generation credit on. They're not, a lot of them are not throwing away money on weddings. They're having different theme, like they'll go to a farm or someone's backyard or their childhood home.
You said you did the wedding, so you performed the ceremany?
I officiated the wedding.
That's awesome.
I'm an ordained.
See how much money you could save, Lena. You could get married live on the show.
I had an interview
Take
with
that
the
honeymoon
bride and groom
stuff
beforehand,
and money and
separately,
put it towards a home somewhere.
And we did a whole thing.
And you get a shirt says "Married by Lone Daddy."
We can wear the hats.
We got merch. Yeah.
Wedding daddy.
Wedding daddy.
All right. So it is one last thing that really upsets me, and I think is sexist somehow.
Don't hold back.
Mother's Day. $55. Father's Day, $38.
She birthed them.
Okay. And we all love our mothers.
Greg, reel it in.
We're not gonna win this one.
I'm just saying.
Reel it in.
It just goes to show you how we're an afterthought and everything. I'm just saying.
Listen, the old joke was growing up anytime, and I feel like other people went through this too. When we bought our father a birthday gift or whatever gift, he'd open up and be like, wow, stop spending so much money on gifts.
I've never said that.
I've never understood why, but I realized anything I was buying him was with his money. So he didn't need $100 cashmere socks. His regular socks would have been quite fine.
Yeah, I love my son says that. It's like, well, I spent my own money. It's like, where do you get your money from?
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Exactly.
No, I don't make a big deal out of getting. It's just funny that there's such a difference. And yes, the women do have the harder part of all this. Yes. I'm not denying that.
Mothers deserve it for sure.
But no. All right. So there's other ones, holidays, stuff like that. Adult's birthday. Now, what are you spending on a gift for an adult's birthday?
It depends what it is. So
is it a milestone birthday?
I actually have a birthday dinner.
My birthday's in February, so start saving now.
I have a birthday dinner this evening for a cousin of mine who I'm very close with. There's 8 people going out for dinner. She sent the invitation, and this morning, me and my wife realized that we're not sure if she's paying for the dinner, in which case we'd definitely bring a really nice gift for her as a thank you, or if everybody's paying for dinner together, and then we'll cover her dinner at the restaurant.
Yeah.
I don't want to say dinner so many times. Thank you.
Yeah.
Or we would cover, her and her husband's portion and say, hey, happy birthday, something like that. But you went to a Friendsgiving Saturday night that I was also invited to, couldn't come to. Was that a don't bring a gift, or that was everybody brings something and
everyone brings something.
Right.
Yeah.
He brings Lone Daddy hats, and everybody likes those.
You gave it away, Greg.
Do they have a buckle on them for Thanksgiving? the old pilgrim hats? Speaking of Thanksgiving, that's the end of the show, but I want to wish everybody, and I'm sure my co-hosts do also, and Lena, we want to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of things going on in the world today. There's a lot we're upset about, but let's try to come together with family and friends and have a great time and eat a ton of turkey and watch terrible football games, which always seems to happen on Thanksgiving. Right. But, it's those traditions, and it's important to take the time out to really celebrate what we have to be thankful for. So much we're worried about what we don't have.
Yeah. I saw something beautiful where someone went up to someone on the street and they said, if I could give you $10 million right now, would you take it? And the person said yes. And then the person said, all right, there's one contingency. You won't wake up tomorrow. Would you still take the $10 million? He said, absolutely not. So he said, so waking up tomorrow is more valuable than $10 million. It's a great thought to have, to be like, you know what, waking up tomorrow is with a smile on your face is a lot more powerful than
being with family. Those are things money can't buy, family and friends. And that's what's really important. The people I know that are happy are not the richest people I know. It's just people that know how to be happy. It's almost like a skill that people
have enough.
Yeah, they don't worry about it.
You take the time to pay attention during your day of how many blessings you have, and they don't have to be big ones of, like I'm healthy and I have my family. Small wins that you have.
Does this podcast count as a blessing?
100%. For me, it does. I'm very happy I joined. But
what about the listeners? Are they happy?
Thrilled.
Thanks, Lena.
There are blessings there, and it's nice that we have a little time to think about and address them.
You got any parting thoughts, Lena?
No, just hope that everyone has a great holiday.
And we will be back next week, because I'm that strict about this stuff, with Long Daddy and Morgan. And we're going to talk about Gen Z stuff, because that's what Morgan tells me she wants to talk about.
So my fans can tune in 2 weeks when I'll be back. Thank you.
Well, all three of them will have to find something to do next week. See, I'm thankful to have a Sarge here for this job.
What is my mom going to listen to on her walk next week?
We all know they listen for me. They're not listening for you. Come on, let's be honest. So happy Thanksgiving, especially to your mom.
Thank you very much. Let's see if she listens
named
to
you
the
Shahriar, or else we wouldn't have all this fun with your name. So thank you, Shar. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Lena. Thank you, all the listeners and viewers. Happy Thanksgiving. See you next week.